It's League 2 predictions, baby. Categories. Hell. That's relegation. Scrapping, fodder. Mid-table yawn fest, the playoff fate. You've got your players and then you've got your goers. Done League 1, we've done Championship, we've done Prem. We've got some controversial ones in there, maybe. Nobody will leave me alone about Sheffield United, even though it's right. But let's just get in there nice and early in League 2. We'll put these teams out of the misery early. Newport and Morecambe are going down. Starting with Newport, who I think will finish bottom. They lost the last 8 games in League 2 last season. They've got a new gaffer. And obviously there's big changes all over the place in League 2. But they've got like a full new squad and they look worse. They've lost the best player in Will Evans to Mansfield. The worst in the world last season for a team that, like I've just said, they lost the last 8 games in a row and finished 18th. You can't afford to get worse in this league, I'm sorry, because you're on a fast track to the pits of hell in non-league. And that's exactly what I think they'll do. Speaking of, Morecambe. Morecambe have got basically a full new 11. And look, it's League 2, innit? There's more consistency in my craps after a week drinking in Greece. Everybody makes whole-scale changes to the team every single year in League 2. It's like every team's got a full new starting 11 every year. It's a complete potluck what happens. But this, let me just get it up. This is ridiculous. What is going on? 19 new incomings. Look at them. I don't even know what half of them are. You cannot get away with that. I'm sorry. You just cannot get away with something like that and expect to have a good year. Especially with this donkey in charge. Derek Adams is such a crap gaffer. He might have been good 15 years ago when he started, but nah. My God, he's only at Morecambe because they're only idiots that'll take him back after he gets sacked or relegated at his previous job. But yeah, they're my 2 relegated teams anyway. And my 2 teams above them that I think will be scrapping but will just survive because League 2, the relegation battle isn't really as tight normally as, say, League 1 or Championship, as you've seen in previous years, especially last time. There was quite a gap between 2 that went down and a team that stayed up in Colchester in League 2. But I think Accrington Stanley and Cheltenham will be the 2 closest to dropping again, but I do think they'll stay up. Accrington Stanley finished 17th last year, but they're just so much worse squad-wise, I think, this season than last. It's been 5 years since they're in League 1, but I cannot see them being back there for a long, long time. They've lost Tommy Lee to MK Dons, they've lost Joe Pritchard to MK Dons, 2 of the best midfielders to a team that's in the same league as you. You can't do something like that and expect to have a good year. So I do think they will stay up narrowly, but it is going to be a fate. And then with Cheltenham, they had best manager in league in Clark, who nearly kept them up after the horror start that they had last year because they were so bad. I don't think they scored it first 9 games or something and then they ended up putting one past Derby eventually. And to be honest, I like some of their incomers. They've got a lot of League 2 presence in there, a lot of fellas that have got a lot of appearances in this league. But the majority of the best players have gone. I'll get it up again. Like for Liam Secombe to go to National League with Forest Green, I know it's only down road, but for Forest Green to have probably offered him more money than what Cheltenham have is absolutely ridiculous. Luke Southwood, the keeper who were injured a lot last year, but still is a very good keeper and he's gone as well. Release a lot of players as well. It's a lot of outs again, which you just can't get away with. So I think it'll be a tough year for Cheltenham as well. Now, getting into some cannon fodder that I don't think they'll be in a relegation scrap, but they're not even going to be in Yawn Fest. They're just sort of there making up numbers. I've got Swindon, Harrogate, Bromley, Barrow, Crewe, and Grimsby as the 6 that I'm going to get into now. Swindon finished 19th last season. I think they'll be in a similar position again. None of the ins or outs are really moving me at all. I think they're very similar squad-wise, level-wise, quality-wise, everything across board. They just look exact same, realistically, in terms of where they are compared to the rest of the team. So I think they'll just stay in the same position. Same as Harrogate, who, again, have gone quite light for light. They've not done anything really as well. They lost that winger to Peterborough, didn't they? But I think they've got a winger in from QPR and Sunderland, if memory does serve. But it's nothing crazy. It's just a very steady League 2 team a minute, which for a town that's known for tea, scones and snobs, rather than football, I don't think is that bad at all. I think, in fact, for Harrogate to be in League 2 is a miracle in first place, and for him to be comfortable is an even bigger one. And then next I've got Bromley, who a lot of people have got Bromley to go down just because, you know, they're a newly promoted team and they're quite small. But you look at some of the teams in this league, from a pubs anyway. So newly promoted teams have got a lot more stability, they've got a lot more momentum, a lot more going for them than a team that's got relegated from League 1 and their entire club's a complete mess, such as Cheltenham, Accrington Stanley, who went down recently. Teams like that. You're in a much better position when you're coming up half at time from National League. A lot of teams have gone on to do well, like your Wrexham, Stockports, you go further back, Leyton Orient, Luton, teams like that have done really well. So I think Bromley will be comfortable. I've then got Barrow in 17th. They ended the season so badly. That's why I've got them dropped down here. Like I said earlier as well, League 2 is just like a constant roundabout that never stops in terms of every team just changes probably 7 of the starting 11 every year. It's a complete mess. These haven't really done that, but the players that they've brought in, I'm just not really impressed with. I'm not overly impressed. Like Vassell from Salford's all right, but I think mid-table for Barrow is about right. I do not think they'll be as good as they were last year. Which same can be said for Crewe as well, who were playoff finalists last year, which probably defied odds to begin with anyway. They've brought Kane Hemmings and Omar Bogle in, combined speeder and double-decker bus on turn. But they've lost the left-back, that Rio Adesibi, to Peterborough for a lot of money, to be fair. They've also lost Luke Offord. When a very good centre-half for this league, and you've lost him to MK Dons. Both teams finished in playoffs last year, and you're losing your best players to them on a free. You cannot let something like that happen, because if you do, you're going to drop from up here, where teams like MK Dons are going to be, and then you're going to end up down here, and you're not going to be able to sustain pressure to try and get promoted like a team like MK Dons are doing. But yeah, that's all them. And then finally Grimsby in the fodder category. I've put them up a few places because they finished season decently well, even though they did finish fourth bottom, and ultimately that's a really crap year for Grimsby. I expect Grimsby to be mid-table at least most of the time in League 2, but I can't see them being anywhere near playoffs. I like that midfielder that they've got in, that George McEachran from Swindon. I feel like he's been about for about 50 years, him. I swear he used to be some sort of wonder kid on Football Manager or something, but he's only 23. Somehow. They've had some decent ins. They've not really lost anything. Stronger squad overall. Put them up a couple of places for it, but they'll not be anywhere near playoffs. Right, now that we've got them fellas out at way, let's get into his mid-table Yawnfest in Fleetwood, Colchester, Walsall and Tranmere. That takes us up to 11th, so Walsall and Tranmere to get in top half. And we'll go with Fleetwood first, because Fleetwood have been asset stripping since January. As soon as they knew they were going down, they were selling anybody a working pair of legs. Any of the best players were getting flogged. Literally all of them. For good money, while they could get it. They've gone down and they've sold Promise Amachiri, who apparently is a very strong, fast presence of a forward that can't finish. So he sounds absolutely useless, but they've also got 590 grand for him, which in League 2 is very good business. I quite like the incomings as well, but I think it might take a year of stability before they try and get promoted again. I feel like, and to be honest with you, I think Fleetwood fans, for the most part, will take a position like this to try and build on to go for it next year. Colchester finished third bottom last season. They were one place off of being in eternal hell in National League. They have lost Cameron McGeehan as well, who's got a shit haircut and used to play for Barnsley. But other than that, I quite like their incomings. I think the squad overall is stronger. The Cowley brothers are decent managers. I'd say that League 2 is probably the level of them fellas after what they did at Huddersfield years ago now, it seems. They'll not be in a relegation battle, I don't think, but again, I don't think they've got enough for a playoff fate, so I think mid-table's fair enough. Walsall I've got basically in the same position as last. I think they finished 11th last season. I've got them 12th this time. I quite like their incomings, to be fair. They've not really lost anybody. Last season, the top teams, Wrexham, Stockport and Mansfield, were miles and miles better than everybody. Absolutely miles better. If you put any of them three in this league again, they'd win it again comfortably. However, the average team for like a playoff team, or what it takes to be a playoff team and to challenge for that, like your 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, around that position, I think that standard this time is a lot better than it was last year. So I think it's harder to get into playoffs. I don't think it's necessarily harder for a team to win league that were half decent last time, like an MK Dons or some of the teams that's come down. But to get into playoffs, I think you've got to be a really good side this time. There's some good teams in this league, and I don't think Walsall are there yet. Same as Tranmere. I mean, at minute, Tranmere just scream to me mid-table League 1 team. Just across board, I do not think they've got enough for top 7. I think they're just born to finish probably about 10th, 11th, somewhere around there. With that being said, we'll get into playoff fate. Salford, who shouldn't even exist. Wimbledon. And I'll drag the other one up in a second. Now, Salford, I'll drag it over again. Salford signings are good. Tom Edwards, this right back from Stoke, we had him on loan not long back in League 1. He's not a League 2 player. Absolutely no way. He's a League 1 player every day a week. Same as Ben Woodburn. I think he got unfairly labelled as being like some sort of wonder kid just because he might have scored a goal for Liverpool when he were a nipper, something like that. But again, no way on earth is he League 2 standard. Yeah, it might not be standard at Championship, do you know what I mean? But when you take the massive drop from playing it occasionally at Championship to playing plumbers and plasterers in League 2, if he hits ground running, he could very easily be one of the best players in the league. I really hope he isn't, because I don't like Salford, and they shouldn't exist. However, I do think they will have a good year, and I think they will finish around here. Now, Wimbledon, since they got relegated from League 1, they spent 5 years in League 1. They've struggled since. I think they finished 20th and then 11th. Off the top of my head, I'm sure it is around them positions. But they have got better season after season while they've been here in League 2. I do think that'll be the case again, but I don't think they've got enough to get into playoffs. Because, like I said earlier, some of the teams in this league are genuinely quite good. Like, the average for a good team in League 2 is a lot better than it ever has been, I think. However, my final team that is just missing out and doesn't get in the playoffs is Notts County. Would like them to go up because eventually I want to go there. Not that Barnsley will be in League One next season anyway. But overall, I thought they were a bit underwhelming last year, Notts County, because I expected them to go up and eat shitloads of goals, which they did. But they still brought with them the non-league defence. They conceded a lot of goals and ended up fizzling out into mid-table, which annoyed me because I had really, really high hopes for them. They've now lost a lot of them goals in Langstaff, who's gone to Millwall. But they are making a lot of improvements defensively. And I do think that the good will outweigh the bad in terms of them conceding probably a lot less this time, but they're not going to score as many. And I think that will have them in good stead to put a bit more of fate up for it, but I don't think they will get in. Now, as top 7 consists of Bradford, Carlisle, Gillingham, Chesterfield, MK Dons, Donny and Port Vale. However, my first team at playoffs and not going up automatically is Gillingham. I've also got Chesterfield in there. I'll leave it at that for now, because I'm a little minx. Gillingham have got a lot of money, allegedly. I'm just waiting for him to do something with it. They've cleared a lot of crap out from last season, and they've made a decent signing. I think Aaron Rowe from Huddersfield is a good one. But they are being a bit slow about it, aren't they? Bringing some quality that you need to get out of this league. Like, some people have got Gillingham in top 3, which I really, really cannot see. I think they'll sneak into playoffs. I don't think it'll be a landslide by any means, but I think they will sneak into playoffs. Whereas Chesterfield, this is just complete opposite. You look at the teams that have done well in National League in recent years, like Wrexham, Stockport, for example, is just off the top of my head. The last 2 league winners have both been promoted now. Stockport went straight from National League winner into playoffs. Wrexham went straight from National League winners into automatics. I think Chesterfield will have a good year again. They have made a few defensive signings and some good ones as well. They probably looked at Notts County from this time and thought, God, we don't want to be a team that goes up and fizzles out a bit. You want to be much more of a Wrexham without all the superpower I didn't even mean to make that as a little joke, but the superpower financials that Wrexham have got. Like, Shea Dunkley from Shrewsbury is a very, very good signing. And then at the other end, you've got Paddy Madden, who's come from Stockport, who's just got promoted. He might fancy doing it again, apparently, with Chesterfield. Guaranteed goals. I think Chesterfield will have a good year, but not good enough to be in top 3 just yet, unless they make some very good signings. They've got a good manager, though. Paul Cook, great gaffer. Another team I've got in here, Bradford. Everybody automatically just assumes, oh my God, Bradford, they're going up. Just because to Bradford and the biggest team in here by an absolute landslide. But that is just, it's not how it works, is it? If that's how it worked, football would be a very boring game and Man United would win league every year for past 100. If that's how it went, nobody would watch this game. If you're a big club, it means absolutely toss all unless you run right and you make some good signings, which Bradford haven't done for the past 3-4 years. And again, I wouldn't have even had him here, apart from the signing of Anthony Sarkovic, who was one of Stockport's best players, is easily one of the best players in League 2. Adding to that, some defensive signings that they've made, it could finally be the time. It could. But I don't think it will, because I've got Carlisle in 4th, and I think Carlisle will go through playoffs. Now, Carlisle finished bottom of League 1 by a mile. Genuinely, they looked so much worse than I thought they were. Because I went home and away to Carlisle last season with Barnsley, and I genuinely thought they were one of the best sides I've seen us play. They look like a mid-table, bottom half-ish League 1 side. They did not look like a team that were going to go down by that margin at all. They brought in Charlie White from Wigan as well. He's going to get you some goals. They do need to tighten up at back because they conceded a lot. But I think they'll be a lot better than people are expecting, Carlisle. I really do. And I think some people aren't even going to make playoffs. I think there's a cert for that. And I will back them for a swift return back up me. Now, that means that Donny, MK Dons and Port Vale are my top 3 in my automatics. And I'm not going to tell you what the order is yet between these two, but Donny, I think, will finish 3rd. They went on that run, didn't they, last year, of about 40 wins in a row just to end up losing at playoffs when they were bottom of the league. And I backed them, by the way. So don't have anybody telling me that I'm some sort of donkey. I backed Donny till cows came home, even when they were bottom of the league, that they're still getting playoffs. They've lost none of the best players that they actually owned from last year. Obviously, lost like Matty Craig and stuff like that, some of the loans that were really good. And they brought in Billy Sharp, who ain't going to play loads and loads of games because he's about 50. He'll need a walker soon. But that experience there is massive. It is massive, that. They've also brought in Nixon, that right back from Mull. I quite like that signing as well. The squad's a lot stronger. McCann got him ticking in January, didn't he, really? So if it gets to January again and they're in and around this position and he can bring like a couple signings in to tweak what he wants, no way. I'm telling you now, an absolute dead cert for top 7, and I think they'll be going up. Now, these two, absolutely 100%, I've never been as confident as anything other than Birmingham going up, that these two will be finishing automatics in this league. They're so much better, I think, than anybody else. It's ridiculous. The question is the order. Who's going first and who's going second? But that's it. I think MK Dons will finish second, and I think Port Vale will win league. Thing is, with MK Dons, even though they shouldn't exist, Max Dean going is obviously a huge loss. You're a fantastic player, but £2 million in League Two is like hitting chuffing Euro millions, mate. It's absolutely massive, and you're about to see what they've done with it as well. Let me just get it up. You look at the signings for this season. Tommy Lee from Accrington Stanley, very, very good signing. Liam Kelly is arguably Crawley's best player in a team that just got promoted from League Two, and he's thought, you know what? I don't even want to play in League One. I would rather come back down and get promoted again. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Two very, very good signings. Luke Offord, who I talked about earlier on a free from Crewe. Tom Carroll from Exeter. Some very, very, very good signings there. Partnered with a manager who... I hate this shit. But to be fair, they haven't even discovered fire in League Two yet, have they? So a manager that plays it out from back in League Two is like chuffing... It's like an alien. And I think that they will... definitely be going up autos, MK Dons. Same as Port Vale. They've just come down. They've lost nobody of huge significance. Darren Moore has a track record of finishing very, very high with teams that are expected to finish very, very high. You look at West Brom and Wednesday, had playoff finishes at both, got like 97 points for Wednesday and need to go up automatically. Very good point tellers for what is expected from a good team. I think he will do that again. You partner that with them bringing in the best player in League Two by an absolute donkey yard is George Byers. That signing, honest to God, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. He should be playing at top end League One team. He should be playing for a team that's almost guaranteed to finish in top 6, like Barnsley, for example. We could have saved a seat on bench for him, maybe. But that signing is absolutely nuts, and I think they will go because of it. Very, very good signing. But that's that. So I've got Newport and Morecambe going down. Everybody else around here means nothing. I think it'll be Carlisle, Bradford, Chesterfield and Gillingham in playoffs, with Carlisle going up. And then my automatics are Donny and MK Dons with Port Vale winning league. And that is the end of the prediction videos until the transfer window is done, and then I will be doing updated ones on TikTok. But thank you all so much for watching. As always, love you all, ladies, gents and everything else. Dog, cats, whatever you want. Thank you all for watching. Love you all, and I'll see you in a bit. And also, Friday night, boys. Them Red Starlight title charge, baby. You know it.